Half-Life Nation, I couldn't be more excited to be here with Wyatt Miller. I'd say the first thing that I noticed here in LaVentana is you're taller in person.
That's true.
Either that or I'm shorter in person.
Keep growing, can't make it stop.
Yeah. So anyways, we're in LaVentana, Baja, Mexico. And something I didn't know, if you want to come down here and stay at the property.
Yeah, ProWindsurf LaVentana is our, but now we're ProWindsurf and Wingsurf LaVentana. I got to change the website.
All right, ProWindsurf, Wingsurf LaVentana, all kinds of nice casitas. You have a bar here, easy access, a private little beach down there with tons of gear. So if you want to have the hassle of traveling with your own gear, go ahead and do that. But if you just want to carry a carry-on and come on down and use the gear here,
we've got
that's the way to go.
Toys stacked on the beach, lining the walls. We pretty much have it all in triplicate.
That's awesome. Okay, so Wyatt, I think for wing boarders out there, one of the things that people struggle with is what boards should they purchase. I wanted to talk a little bit more in terms of like when a rider should ride a particular different board. And so this is the Wingcraft 120. And so as you start learning how to manage a wing, you could go with the shred sled.
Yeah, the 143 liter shred sled. You know, it is a step up. The bigger board you're going to have, it's definitely the easier time you're going to have learning those initial steps. Problem is, not too many people want to buy a board for their first 2 weeks, and then a board for the second 2 weeks, and then a month later you're getting a third board. You do kind of have to make that hard decision at some point about what size board you're going to go for.
Yeah, so talk your buddy into getting the 143 shred sled so you can use it. But you can always also grab a sup board to get the basics of how to manage and handle a wing. Get yourself so that you, if you're new to wind sports, so that you begin to understand how to go upwind and downwind. Then you can start looking at the Wingcraft pretty seriously. This here's the 120. What type of a rider should look at the 120 Wingcraft?
You know, we have a lot of success starting off people just fresh on the Wingcraft, but those are going to be, you know, smaller people, so less than 180 pounds. You'd have no problem going for a Wingcraft 120 right away. You know, if you were a 200 pounder, but you've been kiting or windsurfing, you're used to wind sports, the Wingcraft 120 is still a good choice. If you're 200 and up and you're kind of new to wind sports, then the biggest board you can find is going to help you out a lot. So that's when I push people towards the shred sled 143 7-foot long board.
Yeah, okay. But at 120 liters, you know, I weigh about 175 pounds, something like that. I should be able to stand on this pretty easily. And I think one of the cool features about these Slingshot boards, not all boards have this, but this handle at the bottom, it's really helpful if there's shore break, if you're trying to get in and out, or heck, even if there's not shore break. If it's windy enough to wing, a lot of times you're going to want to use that handle to get in and out.
You know, keeping your wing away from your foil is the only way to keep your wing safe. And so if you've got to hold your wing and your foil in one hand, that's putting the two too close together, and having that inset bottom handle allows you to, you know, hold your board in the upwind hand, hold your wing in the downwind hand, your foil's pointing upwind, your wing's pointing downwind. You keep complete separation between the two. Really going to help you keep your wing in one piece.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly that wing will pop. You know, not pop, but you get a tear.
You can impale it on your fancy foil.
Exactly. That happens pretty quickly, and we have a video to help you fix that thing. So if we look at the bottom, and if we look at the bottom shape on the 120, it's the same as the 90.
Yeah, so the 90 is a really good step down. What we see, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, but people who can pick it up on the 120, really quickly they're able to step down to the 90. So if you're proficient at wind sports, you know, you could start on this 90. It'd be nice if your friend had the 120 and then you got to the 90, but we've had so many guests come down to the resort here and they're really 3, 4, 5 days on the 120. They've got the balance, they're able to derive their balance from the wing instead of from the board, and then they hop quickly onto the 90 and are able to make that work. So it is a pretty quick progression between the two. If you've got ultralight winds though, that 120 is really comfortable to, you know, get up and going, and it's short enough, you know, it's only 6 feet long, and then you have 5.5 feet for the 90, and they're both just really like pumpable, agile, maneuverable. You know, our Kite Pro Fred, Hope, and me were testing the 120. We're both like, I could ride this board all day.
Yeah,
you know, it's it's actually pumpable and maneuverable.
And you know, the thing about when you look at this that's interesting is it's really thick. in terms of like you're packing the leaders into a short base to try to give a level of stability, right?
Yeah.
So as you clamber up on top of it.
The big one's like 5.2 inches thick, and then even the 90 and the 75 are 4.5 inches thick. So you've got a lot of float under you, but the shorter length makes it so you can foot pump it really well. I mean, the longer the board, it doesn't foot pump as well. So you really try to pack that volume in.
Yeah, I think one of the other benefits when you look at least the wing craft, it comes down to foot straps. And so how you can orient those, there's a bunch of flexibility in terms of where you can place these on the board.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a foot strap rider, maybe you're not, but as you grow into that, you have every bit of choice that you want up here.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people coming from the wind sports background are going to like this tri foot strap option because they're going to be used to switching their feet, riding right foot forward one direction and left foot forward the other. Whereas you have a lot of people coming from, wake or surf backgrounds who are like, yeah, I only ride with my left foot forward, that's it. And so instead of having the double foot strap up here, you can have an offset, a single centerline offset front foot. So if you're coming from surfing or wakeboarding and you only go 1 foot forward, you've got that perfect offset front foot right in the middle and you're comfortable with it.
Okay, let's talk to 75. When is the time somebody should move down to the 75?
I love the 75. That's kind of my go-to. I'm a 200 pounder, and the 75 is really the biggest board I would ever need. If it's completely dead, it will sink a little bit. If I have no forward momentum at all, I can sink it under the water. But basically, if it's blowing 5 miles an hour and the wind's totally died, I've got 5-10 left. As soon as I get up to my knees, it's still staying on top of the water, and it'll continue on top of the water once I've...
No kidding. At 200 pounds, you're able to get yourself up here on your knees.
On your knees, and it stays above. And then if I go all the way to my feet, and there's 0, yeah, okay, I can sink it, 6 inches or something.
Yeah.
But with any pull in the wing, I'm immediately on top of the water, and I know I can get going in, kind of any gust. Is because I'm starting on top of the water, any gust gets me going. When you start to move to a smaller board, then you need a certain amount of threshold of wind to get the board to the surface. And once you're on the surface, you're golden. You pump, 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 and you're gone. But it's that getting to the surface and needing that threshold wind. And the 75 for me at 200 pounds is the biggest board I would ever need.
Gotcha. And so if you're down around 40 liters, then you're sinking. That's when you're talking you need enough wind speed to kind of get yourself
on top of the board, on top of the water. And once you get the board on top of the water, you can pump and bounce that thing up and get it going. But if you don't have enough to get your board to the top of the water, you're going to be sinking for a while. Done that a few times.
And I mean, this looks, it's a
5 foot long.
Yeah, it seems small.
Super pumpable. And also, like, as you go to, trying jumps and 360s, it's big enough that when you land, it's got enough stability and float to land and be able to, get up and going again. Once I drop down to the 60, 50, 40 liter boards, then I might land, and if I don't have everything perfect, I'm gonna sink and lose it.
Interesting.
But the 75, you can land, and it's got enough stability. It's still 25 inches wide. It's got enough stability to land or come down to a touchdown and kind of bobble, not have enough wind, and stay on top of the water, even as 200 pounds.
And then this step out of the back in terms of the tail of these boards,
super important.
And
so
it's similar to all three.
Yeah, it's similar to all three. And what's really important is that there's actually a 90-degree angle here. If it's just a graduated, less than 90-degree angle, then you don't have a clean release of the water, and it really drags you down and stops you from being able to pop it onto a foil. You really need this 90-degree cut at one point to give good release from the water and get the board up onto the foil. Okay,
cool. And then this has kind of the mass track, so you can slide it out and take it, so you can switch between boards more quickly.
You can switch between boards more quickly. It's easier to feed the screws in and out. If you line everything up, you can actually keep your bolts in your pedestal and slide it forward, pop them up, drop them in, move it back and forth. But it's just a lot easier than trying to get your screw in there and fish it back out. You just can kind of kick them to the back and get them in and out. So I really like that. They're really great boards. I feel like we knocked it out of the park with these ones.
All right, let's head down to the water. I'm gonna ride these things.
Yeah, let's go.
And we'll see how it goes. Right on, Wyatt. Thanks so much.
Right on.
And any last comments in terms of these boards?
They've been reinforced. One of the things we learned on the first ones is that wing foilers, you're climbing on the side of the board tens of thousands of times. Every time you fall in, you've got to climb up onto the rail of the board. And so we reinforced, wrapped carbon all the way around the rails in this whole midsection, and then did a couple of glass patches, because you're just going to be putting so much pressure on the rail of this board. When you start to use a harness, you can put your harness through the rail of the board. It was really important to me that we really reinforced the midsection rail, just because you're climbing on and off every time you fall.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Can't wait to ride this. Seriously, if you're close to Baja, hop on a flight, come down. And people usually fly into Cabo or La Paz when they come here?
Yeah, they fly into Cabo. We send a shuttle to pick them up, rips them up here. We got a fleet of ATVs and Jeeps that everybody can use to explore the desert and town, and an open bar. That's really the best part.
So that's basically, you just push that big easy button, get yourself on the plane, get picked up, ride right up here, and all the gear is here for you. Cocktails and everything else, so you can have a great time. If you don't know that much about La Ventana, it's a big C-shaped bay, so it's really a nice, safe place to come down and learn and just experience, wind sports down here in Mexico.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Life is easy down here.
Wyatt, I gotta tell you, in a word, I was impressed.
Pretty fun day, right?
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. I was really impressed with both these boards. I mean, first when I got on the 90 to me was, it was mother's milk.
Yeah, you look comfortable. You're comfortable right away. A couple paddles out.
It is, push the easy button, hop on that 90, get a little bit of wind in the wing, and you just stand up. And, we talked a little bit about this bottom being able to separate pretty quickly, because it has like this edge to it.
90-degree edge is key.
And I gotta say, a couple pumps, and this thing separated, and I was up and going on the 90, and then we switched over to the 75. And I would like to take all credit for my amazing winging on the 75.
It took a second.
But I can't. I gotta give you credit.
It took a second, but you nailed it. I mean,
I floundered a little bit, but it was your tip that was telling me to get across the board, reach down to that wing where I wanted it to be, stabilize the board with my other hand, and then stay nice and low on my knees. As I brought it, got the power into the wing, and then I was up and going. And once I had that, just having a little bit less. In terms of board length out there, it was nice and loose. And the thing was, I found that the board really touched down and re-released very well.
It's got a nice, the end scoop of that nose really keeps it from plowing. It's got a lot of thickness there, and then a big cut to the absolute end. So yeah, when you touch down, it releases, and having a 90-degree in your tail cutout is absolutely crucial for being able to break free from the water and actually get planing and pop out. That's totally true. And then, there's a big difference when you're talking about supping or any board that you need to balance on in the water without a power source in your hands. It's all about the width of the board. The length is not so important. So it was a big jump to go from a board like the 90 liter that's 27 inches wide to 2 inches narrow, or 25-inch wide, 75. That's where you're going to get all your instability, is from the reduction in width. And it's amazing to be able to make that jump from 27 to 25 inches wide. It's a lot bigger of a factor than the 6 inches difference in the nose.
Yeah, and the one that I was on had foot straps on it. It's actually the first time I've ever had foot straps.
Oh, nice.
And it felt great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so natural. I just slipped my foot in the front, no problem. It didn't have a back strap, but that's pretty easy to get that placed. It felt really good, and the foot strap felt really nice. Left foot is my natural, and I did some toe side with my foot in that foot strap, and it really helped me as those waves are coming, and you just prepare. Gives you a little more stability, and so. Net for me, where this ends out, the 75, I think is a great solution once you've been winging for a little bit, and you're looking for something shorter that's going to be snappier with a little less swing weight. The 90, I thought, was fantastic. I really thought it rode well. It didn't feel big when I was up on it, and I felt a lot like I could move my feet around nice and easily, and both of them just really performed really well. And so,
and with the foot straps, I think if you're going to start with foot straps and you're not totally used to it, people who come from a wind sports background often will ride a lot better, even kind of beginners, with front foot straps on. Your back foot strap, your back foot may need to move, but if you can lock yourself in to that front foot strap, it really helps people who come from a wind sport background. And anybody who's trying to learn to ride toe side, you're going to make it twice as easy with front foot straps. It's just so much easier to ride toe side with a front foot strap. So I definitely recommend putting on the front ones at least. Your back foot can float around and find your perfect lift placement. But definitely, make the jump. Go ahead and throw those front foot straps on there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's that was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Hey, right on.
It was fantastic. I mean, La Ventana. The waves out there were really fun to ride.
Yeah, you got some good ones.
Water's nice and warm, and what a pleasant environment just to get out there. And
the wind stayed up late. It was like 5 o'clock, and you're still going. I was like, oh man,
it was good. So be able to come down here to La Ventana. Check out our other video where we walk through like what it's like to stay here at Wyatt's place. It's pretty amazing. I think you'll enjoy it. Just hop on a plane, come down here, learn how to wing. Try out these different boards. If you're kind of analysis paralysis and you can't really decide, well, guess what? You just got a easy excuse to come down to Mexico, try a few different boards, and then you can go home and you'll get exactly what you want to get. So.
Exactly. Instead of buying 2, just come for a vacation and buy 1. I mean, it's cheaper that way.
That's right. All right. Thanks so much, Wyatt.
All right,
take it easy.